Hello guys and welcome back to a new video here in Mickey Reaction. If you are new here, don't forget to subscribe and like this video. And now, let's get started.
Hello everyone,
Hi.
I'm Ophelia, and there is a big haunting mystery in my neighborhood that nobody knew about until I had the courage to find out. It all started with my little sister. She was born prematurely and was very sick, so we moved to another city where they had better doctors. To this strange and unique neighborhood that held a lot of secrets. The first thing we noticed was how over-the-top friendly and happy everyone was. It was all baking pies, walking dogs, and planting flowers. We'd never seen such a place, so we felt a bit paranoid. But this one meeting revealed something even stranger about this town. Our neighborhood had a welcoming committee. 4 people showed up when we moved in. Made small talk, gave me and my sister toys. Then, one of the big men in the committee asked to speak to my father in private. So I was sent to my room, but I was way too curious not to listen. So I kept my door open and tried to catch every word they exchanged. At first, the committee told him how nice everyone that lives here is, and how lucky, incredibly lucky. But there was one thing in particular, one little secret that they had to share. Every morning, from 4 until 4:05, someone or something would stroll through the neighborhood and whistle. The whistling wouldn't really do anything or hurt anyone as long as they didn't look for what was making the sound. But, the man stressed, people who went looking for the whistler had their luck changed. They all look like the light has gone out of them. He told them about one particular neighbor, the first one that ever saw the whistler, Mr. Woods. He was a cheerful man with a teenage boy. Mr. Woods and his son both had trouble sleeping, so they'd often stroll down the streets early in the morning, talking, playing. They were strange but a happy family, until one day they came to church, completely silent. It seemed like their souls had left their bodies. After 2 weeks, the boy died, and Mr. Woods locked himself inside his own home. Some old ladies that lived nearby told the committee that they asked Mr. Woods if he saw the whistler, and he silently mumbled, "Yeah, I saw him." After this story, they all said goodbye, and my father went out to the hardware store. He bought canvas blinds, latches, and locks. He installed them on every window in the house, and that's how the rule in our house came about. You see, I was brought up in a house with ultimate freedom. But from that day on, we had one rule that we had to follow. Every night, at 4 a.m., we had to be at home, in our rooms, with closed windows and closed doors. Every night, at 4 a.m., no matter the weather, something would walk down our street, whistling softly. The whistler had the same tune every night. My sister and I stayed up late to listen, but we never tried to open the windows and look. But soon, it all started to unravel. A new family moved in next to us. They were told the same tale and the same rules. They locked their shutters the same way we did. One night, our new neighbors had to leave town, so they left their son, Oscar, to stay with us. He was 9 then. As soon as I saw him, I knew that this kid was trouble. He was very energetic and loved breaking rules. "Do you know who is whistling every night?" Oscar asked us as soon as we were about to go to sleep. I said that we didn't, and we shouldn't talk about it. "I'm pretty sure it's that guy from the committee. He looks like a psycho and is way too obsessed with nobody seeing the whistler," he said, smiling, like he already had something planned out. I tried shutting him down because I didn't want any trouble. It seemed to work. We played video games, watched a movie, but I could see that he was still fixated on it. We went to sleep, and I thought that was it, that we would survive the night. But he woke me up just before 4 a.m. "It's nearly time," he said. "I saw your dad locking the blinds and putting the key in the drawer in the kitchen." I tried asking him questions to bide some time, but he wasn't having it. Oscar just smiled, with the widest and craziest smile I'd ever seen, that would soon go away forever. He took something out of his pockets. I already have them. There was no turning back now. I took my little sister into my bed as far from the window as possible and hugged her. I wouldn't let her look. I wouldn't look. But Oscar wasn't lying. I could see him fumbling with the lock on one of the blinds, and I heard a click. At about the same time, the whistling began. It was soft and cheerful. Time felt frozen.
Whoa.
Everything felt like it was in slow motion. The blinds started to rise, and I held my sister tightly, preparing for the worst. Oscar started laughing and suddenly stopped. He stepped away, shaking, and closed the window. "Oscar?" I asked. He turned to me, pale, and screamed. My dad came running. "He looked, Dad! He looked!" I said. My dad tried to calm him down. Then we heard a knock on the door, again and again.
Oh my God.
"I won't tell," Oscar mumbled. My mom came into my room, and we all stayed there the whole night until the knocking stopped. We didn't want to see who was knocking or why. We tried calming Oscar down, but he was gone. The next morning, Oscar's parents came back. I remember saying goodbye to him. I hugged him real tight as he whispered in my ear, "Kid." Why would he tell me that? I felt like this piece of information was gonna haunt me. After a week or two, they all moved somewhere else. I tried to forget that it ever happened. I never told anyone what I knew, until this one day, a couple of months later, I was biking around the neighborhood alone, listening to music. I took a turn into the forest, and about the same time when I was biking near the old wooden house, my earphones got tangled and fell out of my ears. I stopped and tried to put them back in when I heard the strangest thing. It was Saturday. It was 9 in the morning, and I heard the whistler. My heart skipped a beat. Could it be that now that I knew who he was, that he was following me? I looked around and saw someone moving in the wooden house near the window. My first thought was that there might be someone that could help me. I walked near the window and saw a kid. He was wearing a hat and a colorful jersey, and he was lighting the fireplace. It had to be the whistler, but there were still so many questions I had. Why was he living alone? Why did Oscar freak out when he saw this kid? Then he turned around, and I couldn't help but scream. It wasn't a kid. It was an old man in boy's clothes. He saw me and opened the window. I was scared to death. "Come on in," he said calmly, and I listened. I was dead either way. "You're Ophelia, right?" the whistler asked, as he saw me shaking. I nodded. "I'm Mr. Woods." He said that he was going to answer some questions if I had any, but in return, I could never, ever tell anyone that he was the town's whistler. We talked for 2 hours, and he told me the most beautiful tale. He wasn't sinister at all. You see, he and his son were usually walking around in the morning, and when his son died, he felt depressed. He was a believer back then, but he felt like God had taken away his son, so he lost hope. But the memory of his son kept him alive. He decided that he was going to be someone that people could believe in, something truly magical and good. He said, "One night, I put on my son's hat, and the idea just came to me." He believed that his son's spirit was guiding him, and he whistled a song that his son would always whistle in the morning. He didn't want to scare Oscar or anybody, really. After all of this, we said our goodbyes, and I left. I never told anybody, and he kept on whistling every night. Amazing miracles happened to the townspeople. This poor family with a sick child had a doctor appear out of nowhere in the morning, all paid off. The neighbors found their lost dog in his doghouse the next morning. People believed in the Whistler and had hope. A year ago, Mr. Woods died. And so did the Whistler. Then everybody put 2 and 2 together. But that only inspired us all. We became the Whistlers to each other. We kept his spirit and idea alive by helping each other whenever possible.
Great.
Because you really don't need magic to help people.
Yes.
We can help each other.
Alright guys, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video. See you in the next video. Bye bye.